So today we're going to be talking about gratitude, more specifically the science of gratitude. Now, if you're like most people, when you hear the word gratitude, you may think that it sounds a little hokey, or you may brush it off as something that's a little airy-fairy, or you may see it as something that's only practiced on special occasions like Thanksgiving in America. But as it turns out, there may be a lot more to gratitude than many people realise. For all of history, great thinkers, philosophers, religious teachers and spiritual leaders have spoken about the importance and power of gratitude. But now a growing field of science is starting to show that gratitude truly is one of the most powerful things you can do for your health and well-being. How? Well, let's find out. Okay, so before we go into the science and importance of gratitude, I think it's important that we first define what gratitude actually is. So, what is gratitude? Well, as it turns out, there are many different definitions of gratitude floating around out there. Take, for instance, Merriam-Webster's definition of gratitude: state of being grateful. Thankfully, there's people out there that have done a lot more work than Merriam. And as it turns out, from a scientific perspective, gratitude is not just seen as an action, but as an actual positive emotion. You see, most of us associate gratitude to saying thank you to someone when they give us a gift or do something nice for us. But as it turns out, gratitude goes a lot deeper than this. Take, for instance, positive psychologist Robert Emmons' statement on gratitude. Gratitude has been conceptualized as an emotion, a virtue, a moral sentiment, a motive, a coping response, a skill, and an attitude. It is all of these and more. Okay, so now that we've got a bit of a definition of gratitude, now let's go through and take a look at some of the benefits of gratitude. Recent studies have shown that gratitude can have profound positive effects on our health and well-being. Here are just a few of the biggest benefits of gratitude. Okay, so number one, gratitude improves physical health. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, how the heck could practicing gratitude affect someone's physical health? Well, as it turns out, in a 2012 study in the Journal of Personality and Individual Differences, it was shown that grateful people actually experience fewer aches and pains and took better care of their health. Number two, gratitude changes the brain. It's been shown that gratitude actually works to rewire the brain by kickstarting the release of serotonin and dopamine into the brain's feel-good chemicals. Multiple studies have confirmed a strong positive correlation between gratitude and well-being. Researchers confirmed that gratitude effectively increases levels of happiness and decreases levels of depression and anxiety. In fact, one study showed that just a 1 week practice of gratitude journaling actually increased people's happiness levels by 2%. Now, I know, some of you are sitting there thinking, wow, 2%. But you see, something interesting happened in the follow-up tests. Their happiness kept on increasing. From 5% after 1 month to 9% after 6 months. All of this, even though they were only instructed to practice gratitude for 1 week. Now, we'll be speaking about why this actually happens a little bit later on, but for now, let's continue on with a few more benefits. Okay, so number three is that gratitude actually increases empathy and reduces aggression. According to research, grateful people are actually more likely to behave in a pro-social manner, even when others behave less kindly to them. According to a 2012 study conducted by the University of Kentucky, study participants who ranked higher on gratitude scales were actually less likely to retaliate to others, even when given negative feedback. They also experienced more sympathy and empathy towards others and a decreased desire to seek revenge. Number four is that gratitude improves sleep. According to a 2011 study, just 15 minutes of jotting down some things that you're grateful for before bed dramatically improves sleep quality and duration. This is actually something that I do every night before bed, and I can honestly say that I've seen these benefits for myself. And number 5 is that gratitude has actually been shown to improve levels of self-esteem. A 2014 study showed that the practice of gratitude actually served to increase athletes' levels of self-esteem, which is a vital component in optimal performance. Other studies have shown that gratitude actually decreases levels of social comparison, which again has an effect of helping to improve people's self-esteem. Okay, so now that you've heard all of these benefits of gratitude, you may be thinking to yourself, well, how does gratitude do all these things? Well, to answer this, let's first take a look at how our brains work. So the natural human tendency for most of us is worry and fret. And as it turns out, this may not entirely be our fault. You see, our brains were not designed to make us happy. They were designed to keep us safe. And from an evolutionary perspective, this made a lot of sense. To be constantly looking out and seeking dangers, such as the rustling of bushes, it effectively helped us to survive. But you see, this mechanism doesn't really serve us as much these days. Yet our brains are still wired this way and naturally focus on the negative. The good news is that science is showing that we can actually retrain our brain to pick up on the positive as opposed to the negative all the time. In fact, our brains can be trained to pick up on almost anything, thanks to what is called the reticular activating system, or RAS, in our brains, which is basically responsible for processing information and patterns within our environment. Have you ever noticed that when you start thinking about a car that you'd like to buy, you seem to notice it popping up everywhere? It's not that there's suddenly more of this car on the road, but that your RAS is now seeking out this car because it thinks, well, this must be important. I'll start picking up on this. In fact, psychologists have studied this so much that they've actually coined a term for it, which they call the Tetris effect. The term came about after they observed that people who played Tetris for long hours, day after day, actually started to see Tetris patterns in everyday life. You see, our brains are trained to pick up on patterns, negative or positive. By practicing gratitude, we're effectively retraining our brains to pick up on the positive as opposed to the negative, which ultimately leads us to being happier and healthier. I think another important point as to why gratitude is so effective is the fact that it helps to combat the "I will let myself be happy when" syndrome. You know, when I find the right person, when I have the home, when I have the car, when I get the promotion, whatever it is. We're always putting our happiness off in some future, never enjoying where we are or appreciating what we already have. Of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting these things and for having goals and dreams. Goals and dreams are extremely important. But if we do start appreciating what we have now, it just means that when we start to acquire these things, that we have even more things to be grateful for. You're probably wondering, well, how do I actually do this gratitude thing? Well, let's take a look at 5 of the easiest ways to implement gratitude into your everyday life. Okay, so number 1 is to keep a daily gratitude journal. Now, this is the one that's been researched the most and shown to be the most effective ways of implementing gratitude into your life. Basically, all you do is go through and write out at least 3 things in your life that you're grateful for. You can either do this first thing in the morning or at the end of your day. I like to do it at the end of my day because I find that it's a perfect way to wind down and helps me to sleep well. Okay, so number 2 is to tell people how much you appreciate them. This can either be a family member, a spouse, a friend, whoever it is. Just make it a habit of telling people how much you appreciate them. Number 3 is that when you first wake up in the morning, go through and think of at least 5 things that you have to be grateful for. Number 4 is to actually write out a personal letter or make a phone call to someone and let them know how much of an impact they've had on your life. This has been shown to be extremely effective and have long-lasting effect on a person's happiness. And number 5 is meditation. Meditation helps to bring yourself to the present moment and put you in a more relaxed, calm, and happy state. And it's a perfect time to practice some gratitude by reflecting on all the things in your life that you have to be grateful for. Well, there you have it. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully it's convinced you to perhaps make gratitude a daily habit. If you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that like button and share this video with others. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, then subscribe to this channel for more. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.